Client LTV and increasing your customer lifetime value is a topic I don't really see spoken about too much. I saw a video on Alex Hormozy the other day where he kind of touched on the subject, but oftentimes in the online education and high ticket consulting space, there's not too much content around that because the focus is more on constant client acquisition. Where for us inside of Scale 20, we want to focus on keeping clients around longer because that's obviously easier and more enjoyable than constantly signing new ones. And that is my main metric. That's the metric I'm responsible for. And it's something I recommend you do as well in your business, where if you have multiple team members and you're not just a solopreneur, you want to dedicate the LTV metric to somebody and they are responsible for that in increasing it or at least maintaining it when you're happy with it. Now, over the last few years, having worked in software and now obviously in the high ticket coaching space, there's a few key things that I've noticed that really correlate and influence LTV. Now, these are not the only things, but they're very fundamental things that a lot of people miss, neglect, and don't really work on. And the very first thing is onboarding. It's the very first thing that clients do with you, and you want it to be seamless. You want everything to work. You want them to be very clear on what they need to do, how they need to do it, where they need to go to get the specific resources, skills, whatever. And in the event where something is unclear, you want them to know who they should go to for a specific question. Because on the other side, if there's a lot of friction, if things are unclear, if basic things like links don't work and they didn't receive the onboarding email or the onboarding form, then that creates loads of high friction. And I've been in mentorships where these are mentorships you would expect to have a good onboard experience, but the forms don't work, or they're asking my name and my email, and I would expect them to want more details on me because for the price we're paying, I'm expecting a better service. And so you just want to set the expectation with your new client of what the relationship is going to look like across the duration of your contract. For us, it's minimum 14 months. And so we want to set the very correct baseline of what is going to happen across those 14 months. Now, the second thing I've really realized impacts LTV is having a results-driven mindset. And this is even more important now in the age of AI, Claude Code, custom apps, and stuff like that. And you want to have a results-driven mindset for your clients anytime you make, change, update a resource, a tool, an AI agent, because now with Claude Code, it's very easy to just make stuff because they look cool, they're fun to use, but ultimately they don't really produce any results. And that's where you need to have a results-driven mindset for your clients at all time. You want to ask yourself, anytime you make a resource, make a tool, make a GPT, whatever, you're going to deliver it to your clients. Is this going to help them make their content better, faster? Is it going to help with the research? Is it going to help them sign more clients? And if it doesn't do any of those things, you need to drop that thing that you made because it's not going to help them in any way. And this is something that you need to keep top of mind constantly as you move forward in your business, no matter what scale you're at, no matter how many people are on the team. Anytime you make something or deliver a certain product, just ask yourself, does this help my client reach their goals quicker or easier? And this leads me to the final thing, which is understanding the difference between one-time offers and consumable offers. Now, I'm saying offers in a broad sense, but you need to understand the difference between things that your clients are going to use and do once and things that they're going to use and want to use multiple times, pretty much every week or every month. Now, an example of the one-time offer is your training material. For us, we have video content walking you through our IP, our model, the different segments on building an email community, on making quality short-form content, long-form content, and everything in between. And that is something that the clients are going to watch when they join, but they're going to watch it once. I mean, they're allowed to watch it multiple times, obviously, but once they understand the concepts and understand the methodology, they don't necessarily need to go back to it again and again, at least not on a regular basis. And so that's an example of a one-time thing that if they were to leave, they're not going to kind of lose the knowledge. I mean, they can take notes, they're going to look back on that, but it's something that they're going to do once. And what we are interested in when we look at LTV and keeping clients at the end of their contract is the consumables. Now, on the consumables side, we've got our competitor research service as an example. The consumables is something that they're going to use weekly or monthly. And for us, the competitor research service that they can use for YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, is something that they have unlimited access to 24/7, as long as they stick around with us. And this service that they can trigger whenever they want analyzes their content, the competitors' content that they predefined a list of for us to analyze. We look at all of the comments, all of the transcripts for the videos, no matter how long it is, and we give them a report that is actionable for them on ideas they can use for content to create, on outliers that have performed significantly better than their content, for example, and we're giving them all of the knowledge they need to go and create content, and it's customized to them. And they can, of course, create this tool themselves, but something that some of our members understand is API costs. And when you're analyzing thousands of pieces of content, getting the transcripts, pushing it all through an LLM, and having our IP behind the scenes working for that, it's not a cost you can neglect. At least some members understand that, and they're willing to stick around because they understand the difference. Another example of a consumable is your regular sessions that you might run with your clients. For us, we have a Wednesday masterclass that all of the clients can sit on live, and we cover things that may not be covered in the trainings, or at least not as much in depth. And they get to ask questions, get feedback on their unique situation for their clients, their content, and everything in between. And so when I think about increasing LTV, I'm just usually going to look at those three things: work on the onboarding, work on having all of our resources really geared towards getting our clients results, and also making sure that the consumable side of things is just so good that there's too much friction for them to leave, because they would have to do those things themselves, build the tools themselves, or go and start a subscription somewhere else where it may not be as good as what we have. And don't get me wrong, we're not going to keep every single one of the clients that we sign. Some of them leave, some of them stay. But the game is always making sure that your LTV stays the same or is increasing. The worst thing that can happen is your LTV goes down.